One of the questions that you should expect in an interview is, tell me about your weakness. And this question is very common whether you are being interviewed for an entry-level job, senior management role. Although nowadays, most of us in HR, the interviewers, they're not going to ask you this question. However, I know there are still some employers out there are still managers out there who insist on asking this question. So how can you go about answering this question and proving to the interviewer that indeed you have a weakness, but it's not a weakness that is going to drag you down, in the sense that they'll be afraid to give you the position. So this is a very common interview question, and it does help for you to prepare in advance. So having said that, then you are lucky, because in today's video, I'm going to show you step by step on how you can approach this very important interview question. But before I give you the answer on how to go about answering this question, there are a few things I would want you to have in mind. Number one, whenever an interviewer is asking you, tell me about your weakness. Most of the professionals, and I've interviewed thousands of professionals at my workplace, corporate staffing services, most of us, we think that the interviewer is asking you as an individual. And we do have weaknesses, both at a professional level, at a personal level. However, so long as you are seated there as an interviewee, it's a job, then you have to switch to answering from a professional perspective, not a personal perspective. Because I believe that's number one challenge that most professionals have. So that if I come, I ask you, Jane or John, what is your weakness? Your mind, you start thinking, I'm very impatient, I'm a perfectionist, or sometimes I lack focus. I know you're not going to say that, but sometimes you could be lacking focus. You also have to remember that anyone who has ever interviewed, that employer or HR manager, they've had the most common answers candidates give when asked this question. And the most common one for me is, I'm a perfectionist, or I tend to work too hard. Another one is, I'm not able to balance between work and life. I'm struggling with work-life balance. Those answers, I'm not saying they are bad answers, but they will not make you stand out. And the whole purpose of an interview is to be able to shine, is to be able to stand out against the other 3-4 candidates that you are being interviewed with. So that way, whenever you answer in this question of tell me your weakness, don't give those generic answers that HRs or managers, they're used to. You must come out with a unique answer. Okay? So this video then will help you on how to approach this question. And tip number one is that whenever you ask this question, think, I as a professional, what area can I improve on? That's what we want to know when you're asking you, what is your weakness? For example, I in HR, I could be very competent in recruitment, I could be very competent in performance management, I could be very competent in labor laws, but it's a possibility I might never have done surveys, job surveys. You in HR, you know what I'm talking about. What if you are an accountant? You might be very competent in all accounting areas, but you are not very good with advanced Excel. Same case, you find someone who's in sales and marketing, and they've been exposed to a lot of areas in sales, but they've never done key account management. So what I'm asking you as an interviewer, when I ask you what is your weakness, I want you to reflect back. Look at the job that I'm interviewing you for and ask yourself, what area can you improve on? What can you become better at? So that is your weakness. We are not asking you your weakness as an individual. We are asking you as a professional, what area can you improve on? And those are the kind of examples you can give. You can say, yes, thank you for that question. I've been practicing as an accountant for the last 7 years, and recently I have started to do reports. And what I have found that I need to use more of Excel. And so for now, I would say the area that I'm finding challenging, or the area that I need to improve on, is advanced Excel. And I'm looking for money for now, and in the next 2 months, I should be able to enroll for an advanced class. Simple like that. So when you give such an answer, someone sees you've thought about your career, you've thought about the job, you've thought about what you do, and you even know the gaps that exist. So you don't have to tell people you're a perfectionist. You don't have to tell people there's an issue of work-life balance. Just keep it professional, not you as an individual. So as I conclude, some points to note. So obviously, you're not going also to mention a weakness that is part of the job requirement. So to use that example of an accountant, if someone calls you for that interview and they require you to be knowledgeable in advanced Excel, and maybe you're at 30-40%, you're not a master, then you're not going to say that your weakness is advanced Excel. So the thing is, you should have gone through the job description, understood it very well, such that whatever gap you have in your profession, it's not a key requirement for the job. Then, as I had said, always keep it professional. The minute you enter that interview room, we are not interviewing you as an individual. You are there to sell your skills, you are there to sell your talent. The personal issues, keep them away. And lastly, obviously, talk something, give the interviewer an idea of what you're doing about your weakness. Because if you're that self-aware, the question is, what are you doing then about it? You cannot come and tell me you've been having this weakness for the last 2 years and you've not done something. So you can talk about your future plans, maybe the way you want to enroll for a course, or the way you started being mentored or being trained. And that way, someone you see that, okay, this person is self-aware of their weakness and there's something they are doing about it. So there you have it. You don't have to be scared by this question. And so long as you remember the interaction you are having with the interviewer is one of a professional nature, then I don't see you having a problem when answering that question. And if you've been attending interviews and you feel that the reason why you're missing out on the job opportunities is because you're not able to give your best, even when you know these answers, even when you know how to approach these interview questions, then I would recommend for you interview coaching session. Here at Corporate Staffing Services, we offer interview coaching session. So you sit with one of our HR experts and they will be able to take you through a job that you're being interviewed and how to be able to approach the interview process altogether. So it's a one-on-one session, it's a mock interview, they ask you questions, they'll be able to evaluate the way you answer the questions, and where there are gaps, they'll be able to help you to be able to bridge those gaps, so that when you're going to attend the interview, you can be more confident. And every month we help between 15 to 30 candidates, and I'm very happy because 90% of them, they end up getting that job or being able to get a new job within 6 months. So I've seen interview coaching here, especially for those of us who getting an interview is not a problem, it's how we sell ourselves that is the problem. So reach out to us, and there's a link below with more details.